Here they are.
Is that Todd on the left?
No.
No, Todd, of course, is on the right. Wearing the Star City Games hoodie. Korey on the left, without his usual headphones. Decided to leave those at home. So, looks like they're shuffled up, maybe waiting to begin.
It'll be interesting to see who's got the play here. That's another.
Yeah. Ooh. You see
got
that?
Crucible in
There's
hand.
the one,
Ooh.
and he knows what Todd is playing for sure, and he knows that Crucible is going to be very good.
Yeah.
So expect him to keep this hand if it's at all reasonable.
Looks like Todd's got some lands and a mana leak, and I think was that a Jace? That was a Jace.
Yeah, looks like a lot of lands. Now, that's the thing about knowing what your opponent is playing. Todd would have mulliganed that if he didn't know. Jace mana leak 5 land.
Yeah.
Probably not a good hand, but against Korey it really is.
And Stoneforge.
Uh-oh. So Stoneforge fetches out Batterskull, and Todd doesn't even have swords for that Stoneforge.
No, he does not.
So Todd's going to need to draw some answers real quick. He does have a Vendelion Click. So if Korey waits to use that Stoneforge, Todd can, in response Vendelion Click, take the equipment out of his hand. We'll see if Korey gives him the opportunity to do that.
Todd draws another Jace.
Yep.
Plays his factory.
If he can ever get those Jaces online, that's going to be really good for him.
Oh, of course. And see, and Korey might try to run out the Crucible here.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting. Usually you just automatically say go, but a card as powerful as Crucible, you have to consider playing it, because Todd clearly didn't have the counter for the Stoneforge. But, no, he's not sure.
Thinks about it. They're trying to see what Korey's got in hand. There's a Mutavault. And, looks like he's just going to go ahead and get that Batterskull into play.
Yep.
Which seems like a fine play. He's got a Spell Snare in hand, too, so...
Shows the crowd the Tim token. Tim looking curmudgeonly, as usual.
Right,
so Korey played that turn really well. Didn't walk into Mana Leak, didn't walk into Vendelion Click, just put the Batterskull right into play. And it's upon Todd to see if he can beat it.
He drew his swords, which can buy him some time, but it's going to be rough for him, I think.
Yeah, I think what we may see Todd do is end of turn swords the Stoneforge, untap, try and land a Jace to bounce Batterskull. It still dies to the Mutavault, but he has another Jace.
Yeah.
But no, instead he just swords the Tim. Tim gets removed from the game. I'm sure he'd be happy about that.
I see what you did there.
I'm sure Tim's not watching. He's probably watching Mean Girls or Clueless right now.
Oh, so Korey draws a Force of Will, which definitely another key card in this matchup. He keeps shuffling his hand. Oh, it's 2 Force of Wills.
Yeah, it looks like Force, Swords, and Crucible, it looks like.
And a Spell Snare.
Yep.
And then looks like a fetch land. Polluted Delta, I think that's what that was.
An interesting little nuance of the deck build is Korey decided on Mutavault, Todd decided on Mishra's Factory. Mutavault counts for Spellstar Sprite, but Mishra's Factory is a 3/3 blocker. So Mishra's Factory a lot better right now.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I would count Todd out in this game. He's definitely on the back pedal, but he's gonna need some really good draws to help him out here. But the thing about the blue-white mirror is that it is a grind.
Yeah.
And you know, even game one, and it can turn in his favor really easily.
It really can. He has a lot of answers in his deck, as does Korey. So when the answer decks play each other, it's not often that one player just sort of runs away with it.
And Todd brings out the Mana Leak, but it's going to promptly get Spell Snared, I fear.
I would imagine. I can't think of a better target than that. So Mana Leak on the stack. Korey's going to think about it though, and Spell Snare. Not for long.
Not for long. I wouldn't think about that for very long.
No, me neither. So gets in for 1. First creature combat of the match, bringing Todd to 18 life. Korey at 23 from the Batterskull. Right, fetch plus Batterskull. So now Korey's landed Crucible. Todd has no main deck answer to that except the 1 Oblivion Ring, so we'll see if he can answer the 1 of with a 1 of.
This is our last silent of the weekend, so if you'd like to get your winner box on, now
I have to think Todd will go for Jace here.
please report to the
So sweating.
Yeah.
I would be too if I was in position. He might try to go for the Vendelion click.
Yeah, he does have to be worried about another land and then Batterskull Equip just killing Jace outright.
Because he definitely doesn't want to bounce the Stoneforge Mystic.
Right.
I wouldn't want to bounce that. No way.
No, that'll just walk him right into Mutavault.
So he main phases Vendelion click.
We'll see who he targets. Have to imagine it's Korey.
I think Korey is going to
Force of Will. So uses up both forces, but keeps the 3-1 off the table.
Plays a factory and passes a turn.
Yep, and we'll see what Korey has here.
And he draws Mystery Call.
Brainstorm.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Not bad. So Korey right now can Polluted Delta, equip Batterskull if he wants, or he can just sit on his Brainstorm with the Delta. It'll be interesting to see if he goes aggressive or he goes more card control, card selection.
Well, he's only got 2 cards in hand, but he's definitely got a really good board position. But those 2 Jaces in Todd's hand could turn out to be really good for him.
Right, Jace is one of the most powerful cards in the matchup, of course. So, Korey,
even if he deals with 1, he's got to deal with the second one.
Right. So I think Korey's probably just going to lay a land and say go, because that gives him the option to return Batterskull, flash Batterskull in, or Brainstorm. And there's the land. Oh, but no, he's going to prove me wrong and just equip Batterskull. I won't deny that I've only played Blue-White Stoneforge in 1 event, so...
Well, it's a tough deck to play.
It really is. So Batterskull equips and attack for 5.
Ow, ow, ow.
Life total is 1327.
Let's see if Todd can draw a good answer here. And
Wasteland, that's not what he needs.
No.
So Jace is the play, and bounces Stoneforge Mystic.
Ooh, you know you're in a bad spot when you have to bounce a Stoneforge Mystic with
Yeah.
Jace. Wasteland's immutable.
Wait. So now Jace will live for at least 1 turn. And Todd says go. Sword of Feast and Famine.
Oh.
Not the draw he wanted, but
I think is the only other equipment he has?
it is. So
so even without the bounce, it wouldn't have mattered then. Well,
right, he can always shuffle that back in with Brainstorm, with say the trigger on the stack, or beforehand. That works too. He draws Sword, Force.
good cards to draw.
Yep. No other blue card for Force of Will though. Brandon Large would have Korey get Mask of Riddles here to pitch to his Force of Will.
I think he's going to shuffle those away in favor of a Stoneforge Mystic.
Yeah, seems better. So Stoneforge will go grab that sword. Just pulls it right off the top of the deck.
I knew where that was.
No hiding that.
Yeah, Korey's played this game very well.
Yeah, he has. Korey, a pretty underrated player. He has at least 1 GP top 8 that I know of. A few Star City Open top 8s too.
He's definitely a good player. I've been playing Magic tournaments around the similar areas with him since I started playing competitively, and he's always been a really good player.
Yeah.
So
When he cares to put the time in.
yeah,
Just like
Well,
like a lot of
anybody.
players, yeah. So Todd's brainstorming during his turn into a 3rd Jace.
wow.
It's almost too many Jaces.
And he gets his Batterskull,
Yep.
and looks like a couple other lands. Is that his Moorland Haunt?
That might be what that card is. It is, yeah, that's Moorland Haunt right there. Not a card I'm used to seeing in Legacy. So it looks like he puts back Moorland Haunt Plains. Nope. He wants to put back 3 cards.
I think he's probably picking and choosing. There we go.
All right. So puts the Plains back and 1 other card, keeps the Moorland Haunt. So his hand right now, Moorland Haunt, Flooded Strand, Batterskull, Jace the Mind Sculptor, Force of Will.
Plays the Haunt and passes the turn.
He's just going to sit on a hard cast Force of Will and 2 blocking Mishra's Factories.
And Korey draws a counter spell.
Yep. the thing to remember, though, is even though Todd has Jace, Korey has that Crucible of Worlds, so not quite as good as a Jace Brainstorm every turn, but ensuring your land drop every turn is pretty good.
Yeah.
And if he ever draws a Wasteland, things are going to go downhill for Todd.
Oh, very quickly.
The thing is, can he find it before that Jace completely takes over? So looking at 1 mana.
Is he going to be activated? Is he going to activate his Mutavault?
I don't think so. Not in the face of 2 Mishras.
I don't know why he would tap. Maybe he's trying. Oh,
Huh.
He does activate Mutavault.
He must be putting a sword on it or something.
Is he attacking?
Attacking Jace with both, because I guess he does have at least 1 Swords to Plowshares in his hand. He might have 2. So I have
He has
two
Yeah,
swords.
he kept the 2 swords.
Yep. So he has Force of Will, Alternate Cast, and 2 Swords to Plowshares now, if he wants to use all those. So activates Mishras. Now, if Korey passes priority here, Todd can just say, okay, no other effects, and go to blockers.
Right.
So it's up to Korey whether or not he wants to swords before blockers.
It looks like that's what he's going to do. And Todd can Force of Will, removing the other Jace. And he's got the 3rd Jace on top.
Yeah.
Or maybe even 1 card down. I didn't see the order he put those in, but it's
Right.
definitely coming. And so I think he's okay with pitching that other Jace.
Yeah, definitely. To protect this Jace that's on the board and that 4 mana investment, definitely worth 2 cards.
McDuffie does not have another blue card, looks like. Or, he'd do the counterspell, that's right.
Yeah, his hand right now, Counterspell, Force of Will, Swords, and not sure about the 4th. That's the card he drew this turn.
He thinks about Force of Willing here.
And it looks like he's going to.
Yep.
Force, removing Counterspell. So Force will get countered. And Swords will resolve only after Factory's Pump itself. So 3 life. Now Jace is in danger, but another Mishra's. And another Swords.
Yep.
Bang. Todd doesn't like that. So Todd gains 6 life this turn, but Jace is dead, more importantly.
He goes bye-bye.
Yep. And land from the graveyard?
And two of Todd's lands are gone, too.
Yeah, that was a very good turn for Korey. And even landing a Jace here, he can't protect it from that Batterskull.
He's in a really tough spot here, and
Yeah, I think at this point Korey's going to have to mess up pretty large to for Todd to get back into this one.
plays a land and passes a turn. Maybe hopefully to make a spirit token to block some of that.
Yeah. Not even actually sure if he has any creatures in the graveyard.
I believe he has a Vendelion.
Oh, you're
That
right.
got
Countered. No creatures have entered play for him this game.
Right. Unfortunately.
So Korey, end of turn fetches, thins the deck out a little bit. Draws. Spell Snare. Now Korey trying to decide what his best line is. He can equip Batterskull, he can flash Batterskull back into play, he can attack with Mutavault.
Lots of options.
Yeah. But he doesn't know that most of them will win the game. He doesn't know Todd's hand right now, so he has to think about this.
Yeah. Todd's looking confident, but he's masking it very well. I know he's probably feeling a little down right now.
You can go give him a big hug after this. Assuming he doesn't win games 2 and 3.
Yeah, he very well can.
Now, interesting to note in the sideboard, Todd has a Manriki Gusari, Korey doesn't.
Ooh.
So that's going to help him a lot after
Yeah.
sideboard. And the Geist, just like you mentioned.
And he's got another Oblivion Ring, 4-path. Looks like Corey's got that. And
Yep.
Corey's got another Vendelion click.
He does. Ancestral Vision, Elspeth, Wrath of God, Jite. It'll be interesting to see how they sideboard. I don't think it's as cut and dry as a lot of other matches. I think a lot of it is really anticipating what they're going to sideboard in.
Right.
So Korey looks like he's going to settle on equipping Sword of Feast and Famine after playing it and attacking. And that's not good for Todd.
Todd's got 2 sorcery speed, but it looks like he's trying to bluff. Or that activate the Moorland Haunt to block.
Right. He can't get hit by that
another
Mystic.
turn,
right.
But it's going to be real rough for him to come back.
Right. He's going to get to shuffle that top card away, so he'll have 1 fresh draw phase.
Oh, he does let the Stoneforge hit him.
Wow.
Discards the Batterskull.
Todd might want to draw an Umezawa's Jite here. That might be what he's thinking about. I'm not sure, though. So end of turn.
Gets rid of the Vendelian Click.
And Spirit Token. Real Spirit Token. Nice.
That's right, kids. You've seen it here on SCG Live. Spirit Token in Legacy.
Oh, yeah. Moorland Haunt in every format. Even Vintage.
It'd be interesting to see if you could make that work. I don't know if you can make that work in Vintage.
Probably not. White is not too good in Vintage.
I don't know too much about Vintage, but I know that Moorland Haunt probably wouldn't work in Vintage.
Jace gets cast in Vintage. Force of Will gets cast in Vintage. That's probably it for the cards seen this game.
I'm sure Force of Will would get cast in every format if it
Yeah.
could. That card is too good.
That's true. Sort of the glue that holds Legacy together.
He draws Stoneforge, but I don't think that's good enough right now.
No, not after he discarded the Batterskull.
I bet he's really kicking himself. But I mean, you don't want to discard Jace. Like, that's such a clutch card. Of course, drawing the Stoneforge Magic is much like drawing the Umezawa's Jite.
Yeah, I'm interested to know his reasoning for not blocking with that Spirit Token. Maybe he wants it to protect this Jace so he can block next turn. Figures the Jace is his only answer at getting back in.
Well, he can bounce the Stoneforge now.
Right.
And he probably doesn't know, but Korey only has the Batterskull and the sword in his main deck.
Right. Usually they only run 2, I think. Maybe a few will run 3. But right now he just needs to make sure this Jace lives. He would love the chance to block with that Spirit Token. Next turn for Todd, Jace will have to brainstorm into pretty much the perfect 3, but Todd took a line that guaranteed that he has outs.
He's really good at doing that. Like he really plays to his outs and sees lines of plays that definitely I wouldn't be able to see. And
it's a good skill to have. A lot.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. It seems like a lot of people just give up, say, "Oh, I'm dead. I'm probably not going to win this game. I'll just throw my cards away." Todd's playing for every out here. He knows he probably can't win, but there's that 1% chance that Korey's just run all land and he'll get the perfect cards.
Korey draws a Force, which is
that's not going to be good.
Not good for Todd, but probably going to be countering that Stoneforge Mystic next turn.
So Mutavault attacks Jace. Spirit, of course, jumps in the way.
No, don't eat Jace!
5 mana?
And for the Batterskull.
The Skull. Make sure to play the land first, play around days. Just in case.
Just in case.
Todd draws O-Ring. Oh, that might be step 1.
Ooh. Step 1.
Fate Seal, okay. Interesting. I would have expected a brainstorm to search for swords there.
He Fate Seals himself.
Right. He knows Korey has the fetch land, so no real point in Fate Sealing him.
And Force of Will will come in to make that Oblivion Ring go away.
And Todd says, "What? No! Another Force of Will?" And scoops his cards up.
All right.
So hard fought by both players. I think they both played pretty well that game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think Korey just definitely had the advantage early on, and Todd just he kept a okay hand, and Korey just he had a better hand. He was on the play. I think that was definitely key.
Yeah. Thinking back on Todd's opener, maybe it actually wasn't a keep. On the play, I like it because you can mana leak the Mystic, but no answer to Mystic.
Yeah.
Maybe not. So, looking at their decks, we already went over a lot of the sideboard cards. Korey, I think, will be siding in definitely one Ancestral Vision, definitely one O-Ring, but the others, I'm not really so sure. Surgical Extraction generally isn't too good in this kind of matchup.
No, I don't think so.
Vendalion Click is good, but he saw Moreland Haunt from Todd, so I don't know if he will. Really, his main deck's probably pretty well set up to fight.
I think so too.
He'll probably take out Sword of Feast and Famine from Uzawa's GT.
Oh yeah, I think that's a better call
Yeah,
here.
those are just minor tweaks, though. Todd, though, has a lot more that he can bring in.
Yes, he's got the Manriki Gusari, he's got Geist Sustained Trapped, he's got Oblivion Ring. He might,
Spell Pierce if he wants it.
yeah, Spell Pierce. Korey has Spell Pierce too.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I think that maybe is like a 1 or 2 of, but I don't think he's gonna. Todd has 3. I don't think he's gonna bring in all 3.
Right. It's a kind of card that you can really get clogged up on.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes Force of Will fodder very quickly.
Exactly. It's good for countering the cards that don't matter and Jace, pretty much.
Yeah.
It doesn't counter the Stoneforge, it doesn't counter the Snapcaster. It counters the cards that sort of just trade 1 for 1, like Brainstorm, Spell Snare, Swords to Plowshares, Counterspell. Probably really good at a crucial Force of Will turn, though.
That's true. That's true. But
So I expect to see some number, maybe not all 3.
yeah. Probably gonna be taking out. Maybe the Spell Stutter Sprite. I don't really see that being very good in this matchup. Yeah, Elspeth.
Yeah, Elspeth probably not going to be in there after board. Both players should take that one out. Other than that, though, the main decks are pretty tight.
Yeah, these definitely 2 very well built decks, and
yeah, I think that's why a lot of people play Blue-White Stoneforge. Mostly because the deck's been so refined. A lot of very good players have worked on the deck, have shared their thoughts, have written articles about it. Sort of like Cobblade was really refined. I think a lot of other Legacy decks just haven't really been tweaked enough. Haven't really been adapted to the metagame. So that's why you see a lot of Stoneforge. That's why you see a lot of Stoneforge winning in the hands of good players.
yeah, definitely very good. So
Yeah.
they're shuffling. Todd's probably trying to get refocused, I'm sure.
Head in the game, Todd. Head in the game.
You can do it.
You're on the play now. Mulligan those hands. Korey shuffling fast. He knows the momentum's on his side. He's going to try and keep it going here.
Yeah, I think probably part of the reason why Todd kept that hand was it was okay. You know, like he probably wasn't sure what Korey was playing.
Right.
You know, like he's like, well, I've got Jace, I've got Mana Leak. You know, all right, let's try this. You know, and it didn't really pan out for him. But
exactly. The 2 Mishras were nice. Definitely nice to have, especially against fighting a Jace war. But that's just not the draw Korey had. Korey didn't have Jace.
No.
He had Stoneforge.
Yep.
Todd couldn't even draw swords in time in his first 2 or 3 draw phases to stop the skull from coming into play.
Looks like they're drawing their hands and getting settled in.
And Todd, of course, on the play.
It'd be interesting to find a deck that would say, "Oh, I'll be on the draw."
Yeah. Actually, Adrian was saying when Jerry played Dredge, he always chose to draw.
Really?
Which is really, really interesting.
Well,
just end of turn
sometimes
discard.
that's good.
Yeah. The discard step.
Islands.
Yeah, no wasteland vulnerable hands here.
Todd's got the Stoneforge, but he opts to pass.
Right. He doesn't have Force of Will backup. Doesn't want to go have his get forced and then Korey play one. Rather just hold up Leak.
Well, I mean, running your Stoneforge out is not always the best play on turn 2. If you know.
No, not in the mirror. Not when neither player is really under any pressure. So now we'll see Todd go for it because he drew a spell snare. So now he has Spell Snare for any potential mystics of Korey's.
Well, Korey's got the Force of Will, so he might try to go for that instead of
Snare.
Yeah.
One of the most powerful cards in this matchup. 1 mana counter 2. Korey, though, no Stoneforge this game.
No. Oh, he rips another one. Ooh, that's really good.
How lucky.
I think the Force of Will is going to come out now.
Yeah, it pretty much has to.
But Snap! I didn't see that Snapcaster Mage.
Nope. Snapcaster's getting spell snared, and now I don't think Korey has another blue card to pitch to that Force. Or if he does, that might be a Jace, which he definitely doesn't want to pitch.
No, I wouldn't. Todd's got a GT in hand. I think Was that a Snapcaster I saw as well?
I think so. Pretty hard to tell, flicking through the cards.
Let's see. It's a Batter Skull. I was trying to look as he was going through his deck to see if any of his sideboard cards popped up.
Oh, Elspeth, still in the deck. I guess that's pretty good right now.
It's pretty good right now. And she comes down.
Yep, there's Elspeth.
Todd does not have a Force of Will or a Daze to back that up. He just like, oh, here's your die.
Yep, and Soldier.
And your Soldier.
Elspeth is very hard to beat through for Batterskull. Sure, they can gain a lot of life, but Elspeth's building up.
So, Jace versus Elspeth. And he draws the Force. One turn
late. He would have loved to land there. Yeah. The opportunity to land his own Jace, his Jace. So now, he's a little bit of a conundrum. He has to figure out how he's going to beat Elspeth. No Vendilion Click in sight to fly through the air.
And the only blue card, other than Jace, he's got his Snapcaster Mage, and
right.
Don't know if he necessarily wants to pitch that.
Todd can definitely afford to pitch the cards more than Korey can. Korey just drew, Korey just drew a blue spell. He just drew a Snapcaster.
Yeah, Snapcaster.
Yeah. So now we'll see how he plays this turn. He has a Sword of Feast and Famine in his hand.
He's got 2 Mutavaults.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's really good against a mana-shorted opponent. And he just drops the sword.
Yeah, just goes for it. I like it.
Todd.
Every turn you see these players just agonizing because this mirror is just so difficult to play correctly. I mean, you hear us up here. We don't know what we're talking about.
I mean, you put this deck in my hands, I guarantee I will make 100 mistakes.
Right.
Well, Todd's got the swords.
Right, but he knows if he swords the token, another one's just going to come right back. So removing Snapcaster. Both Force and Snapcaster can't exactly make full use of those when you're mana light.
Korey thinks if he wants to get rid of his other blue card in favor of his sword.
Right, that would leave him with just an island though, so he has to decide how much he wants it, and apparently a lot. Because those are 2 pretty good cards.
Yeah, I definitely don't blame him. So that happens.
So sword equips. I have to imagine Todd swords it here. In response to the flying, of course. Yeah. And no flying. He wants to play around with Swords to Plowshares. Maybe he has a read on Todd, or maybe he just wants to play around as much as he can.
Well, I find that interesting because Todd can flash in the... Oh, it's Pro Black.
Yeah, the Germ token.
I always forget those Germ tokens are black.
Yeah, the blue-white deck. Actually, pretty greatly affected by Pro Black. So Todd has to decide if he wants to throw away Stoneforge or discard a card. And it looks like he's just going to block. He said Stoneforge has served its purpose. It's gotten the skull into play.
Did the job.
Yep. And Elspeth will make a creature.
I think what maybe Todd's trying to is going to go for is maybe swords in the creature so we can get into Elspeth.
Right.
Which I think is a fine play.
Yeah. His life total doesn't matter much. All that really matters is the board position. A lot like the Cobblade mirrors. Card advantage didn't matter as much as board position. And now if he draws a Jite, or a land for Jite...
He draws another sword.
Well, that's pretty good too.
So he plays a Jite and attacks Elspeth. She goes to 2.
Yep. So getting there, 1 attack away. And if Korey's a true master, he'll draw Manrique Gusari at some point. This Batterskull's pretty good too, though.
Korey doesn't have the Manrique. It's Todd.
Oh, that's Todd.
The
My fault.
If Todd is a true master.
Yeah, exactly. There we go.
Todd is still stuck on 3 mana. If he had drawn a land and had been able to equip that GT, it would have been
much
really
better
good
for him. Sword is good too. Basically, as long as he could cast the spell he drew or drew a land, either one was fine.
The Korey lands his Batterskull.
And now things start to get silly.
Batterskull v. Batterskull.
And you see Korey agonizing here, doesn't know what to do with his Elspeth. And Korey's out of cards here. So Korey,
but he's got a really good position.
He does.
He's got Elspeth, Batterskull, Sword of Feast and Famine, 2 Mutavaults, and lots of land. And Todd he's got 2 cards in hand. He's stuck on 3 lands. And he's thinking whether or not he wants to swords the Tim Ayton soldier. That's right. I couldn't remember if it was a spirit or a soldier. Because swords the soldier.
or discard a card.
Or discard a card. And I don't think he wants to discard. I mean, he could just opt to discard the Jace. But that also lets Korey untap. And he gets to have his 2 Mutavaults along with his Batterskull as blockers.
Right. I don't think he can do that. I think Todd would discard Jace if there's a chance that he could kill that Elspeth on the next turn, but I don't know how he could kill it. Especially if he gets to untap the Mutavaults, like you said.
Definitely a hard spot for him.
Yeah,
but
not a good position.
I've seen him come out of rougher spots.
That's the thing about these mirrors. No player is ever out because you can always come back because cards are so powerful. Like if Todd draws a land right here, he can play a Jace.
Soldier comes back. And what does he draw?
O-Ring.
Oblivion Ring.
That's
there
pretty
we
good
go.
too.
Okay.
Back in it. Now he has the real hard decision what to Oblivion Ring.
Let's see, Oblivion Ring. Elspeth? Batterskull? Sword? Wizard?
I think it might be Batterskull here because the presence of the opposing Batterskull means that he can never attack. Because Korey has 6 mana, he can just return Batterskull, play it again. Todd has 3. He can't do that. So I think as painful as it is to let Elspeth live.
But he also knows that he's definitely going to be discarding Jace next turn.
Right. Yeah, chooses
Takes
the
the
skull.
Batterskull, which is perfectly fine choice.
Yeah. At least it eats the soldier. Todd goes up to 25.
And he's probably a pretty sad panda about the Jace in his hand. But I mean, he's only got 3 lands, so. But I guarantee next draw he's gonna draw a land.
Well, let's hope it's a Mishra's Factory for his sake. So Mutavault activates. Sword equips.
Place.
Croc's in play. Sword attacks.
And Jace goes to the graveyard.
Yep.
Sad day.
Todd takes 4 down to 21. Korey gets to untap and makes soldier.
So good, his Mutavault's untapped too. Oh. Just
Re-equip the sword.
Wasteland.
That's a waste. Actually, okay, Wasteland's better than any other land he could have drawn. So GT gets equipped, but that Germ still can't attack because of that sword.
Yep. And
Todd really needs a second Oblivion Ring.
Korey draws Force.
Great draw.
Well,
Both players still just agonizing here.
even though they have no cards in hand, there's just so much going on. Like
Planeswalkers, equipment.
So many different routes to victory for both players, and it just really depends on what's on the top of their decks. Like a brainstorm for either one of these players is going to be really clutch for this game.
Yeah, especially if they can find a fetch land too. So attacks Todd, moves the sword. Yep.
Right. Todd draws Oblivion Ring.
Wow.
Number 2. Wow.
So 2 Oblivion Rings and 3 draws.
Korey's got the Force of Will, so he can just hard cast the Force. Which,
1, 2, 3, and we get to watch in real time Todd's face.
Oh,
there it is.
Oh no! Oh, that's devastating. Ow.
No, the Oblivion Ring goes to the graveyard. Those are both Oblivion Rings. No Divine Offerings. No way to actually
Nope.
kill the Sword of Feast and Famine left in Todd's deck.
Manriki Gusari.
Oh, you're right.
That is what he needs to draw.
I keep thinking that's in Korey's deck. Todd gets to draw that one. If Todd draws a Stoneforge Mystic right here, that'll buy him a turn to chump block the sword creature.
I mean, Todd has several draws.
Spell Snap.
I mean, he can.
Yeah.
Well, I would say he could draw Snapcaster Mage, but Korey's got the spells.
Right. Every card in the deck is great for both players to draw. Todd would need Korey to draw a few running land while he drews a few running spells.
Well, if Korey attacks with the Mutavault here, Todd can block.
Yeah,
Germ token.
it looks like he's jumping it with the Elspeth.
Oh.
I don't think Todd. I don't
So
think.
good.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh,
Korey's
no.
ever gonna let that GT get counters on
No
it.
way, Jose.
So Todd takes 9 damage.
Opts not to wasteland the Mutavault that's attacking him.
Yep, needs that mana to play any Jaces he draws. Re-equip sword. Pass the turn.
And Todd draws. Oh,
Oh, it's an island.
oh,
That's not gonna do
that's
it.
not gonna do it.
And he technically has one more turn, but I'm not sure there are any cards he can draw.
No. Even Manriki Gusari, I don't think quite does it.
Nope. Just too much damage. Elspeth on something like 6 counters right now. It was really the Elspeth that did it this game.
Yeah. We almost counted her out during sideboarding.
Yeah, I guess we don't know how this mirror works, do we?
Yeah, this is a really tough deck to play. There's so many different angles and, you know, card interactions, and it's. I am not the greatest player, so I definitely would not want to tout my prowess with this deck. So they've definitely been playing this game really well, and really that's what I wanted to see, a really good game of Magic,
Yeah.
and that's really what this has been. Even though Todd's fortunately been on the other side of the
Right. Of the coin here, but Korey won the die roll. There's the hand.
Well, he still played really well, and his deck's really good, and I think that you know, if he wins next round, top 16 is not too bad.
Definitely top 16 at X2. Korey McDuffie might be able to draw in next round. He moves to
Exciting.
6-1.
Yeah. Ooh, I'm glad to see again one of my friends. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Korey's a great player. I think